So we are live. Hi everyone, and today again I am here, Parveen Tuli, Joy of Business Facilitator and Access Consciousness Facilitator. And today we have in the change makers of the world, we have somebody coming from Washington DC with us, and we have Betsy. Welcome, Betsy. Welcome. And let us see where we can go with the conversations and the change stories of change that we want to really hear. I'm very curious to know more about you. So we have a section here where you talk about your journey of change in a crisp 1 minute, as much as you can gather of everything, as much as you want to gather about anything and everything, you can sum it up in a minute. So here we go.
Oh, that's hilarious. No pressure.
No pressure. You have a humanoid 1 minute.
1 minute, quick, go. Okay. So, 1 minute. Used to be very depressed, sad, in a lot of pain, and didn't want to be in the world anymore. It was like there's either something changes or what the heck is the point? I was fortunate enough to find the wonderful tools of Access Consciousness, the questions, the body processes, and everything like that about 8 years ago. And to say that it's completely changed my life is an understatement. I mean, like everything has changed. I'm happy. I'm no longer in terrible, terrible pain. I've created a life that I desire to create, that I thought was impossible. And I feel like it's still even just the very beginning stages of it. And I'm just so very grateful and happy. And I no longer have thoughts about not being in the world anymore.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So,
thank you for asking.
We will love. Yeah. So so you actually found out Access Tools 8 years back, you said.
Mhm.
And what happened? What changed? What changed? Like, what were the realizations? What were the moments of realizations or awarenesses in your world that made you change your mind from not living in the world to really choosing a life that's absolutely phenomenal?
Yeah, thank you. So for me, I realized like there was so much judgment and self-criticism and like constant badgering at myself of, just how awful and terrible I was. And with the body processes and the access bars, which is a gentle process on your head that releases stuck emotions and thoughts and feelings, I no longer had that constant barrage of how horrible and awful I was. And, started to actually see that maybe I'm not as bad a person as I thought I was, and started having gratitude for myself and other people as well. And it really just changed. And there's so many beautiful questions that we learn. I didn't really ask questions and learn the value of them until Access Consciousness, and just found that to ask a question and not have to have the answer was so freeing. So freeing.
So no pressure at all, like asking a question and really going into the right answer. No pressure at all.
Right, exactly. I used to think that I had to have the answer and I had to solve all the problems. And so I spent all my time kind of like a dog chasing its tail in that, and to know that I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to solve all the problems was such a relief.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder when people are looking at, like, no matter what spaces in their life are, and when we talk around with people and they talk about, I'm looking for freedom, and from each one's perspective, each and everybody has a perspective of freedom in their own way, in their own world. But truly, like coming to Access and really playing with the tools, I don't want to define it as like whatever freedom is, but it's a space of such a huge expansion that you have
Yes.
a sense of everything is possible, and it's such so much ease with that.
So
So,
true. Yeah, it's like you take the
uh,
shackles off of yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and how much of that shackles are keeping us binded in maintaining what we are maintaining in our lives, and
Completely.
keeping us,
Yeah.
and it's actually creating what it's creating in the world right now. It's like how much of that energy is going into maintaining everything that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And I just wonder what else is possible. So tell
Yes.
me that, yeah, I would like to know. So you came Access and you chose to be an Access certified facilitator. And were you in business earlier as well, or what made you
Yes.
choose joy of business?
Yes. So I used to be in the corporate world, kind of worked my way up the ladder. And then there was just a point where I felt so confined and it really wasn't fun. And so I chose to kind of follow a different path, and actually for quite a few years had my own paper art store, which was wonderful and so much fun. And I am also a realtor. And so I kind of, started doing things that brought me a lot more joy. Now, at the time, I didn't, have all
Yeah.
of the tools that I have now, and yet I still had some that I would follow. And I found that, just having the freedom to really be able to choose what I would like to choose and not have to, it just worked so much easier for me. And then, when I found the tools of Access and started incorporating those questions and everything in my real estate career, it made it so much easier. And I no longer had the point of view that like that everything was hard and that clients were difficult. And, because there's so many people who have the point of view that how hard being a real estate agent is. And I'm over here like, I'm having a good time and asking questions. And so many times people would say things were impossible. And I'm, again, kind of like doing my magic, and things were not impossible for me. So with that was, the beginning for me. And then when the Joy of Business specialty was really calling to me, because I do love business and I didn't realize how much I enjoyed it. I always thought, well, I'm not a corporate person. I'm not a, traditional business person. And yet, it still kept calling to me. And so when I took the training, I was like, oh my God, this is so much of it I knew, but didn't realize that I knew, so it was so much fun. And I really do love the brilliance of Simone Milasas, the creator of the Joy of Business, a specialty. And there's so many dynamic facilitators, and everybody's so wonderful and unique in their perspective and where, their journey and how they got to be where they are. So thank you
Yeah.
for asking.
Awesome. So there are many people who have these perception, or they do function from a point of view. If you have a business, you're binded for life. You do
Yes.
not have the freedom to choose. You cannot choose the way you desire to choose, because now you are business owns you, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I would like to invite. So this is these conversations are more for people who are looking for something different, who are
Yes.
looking from choosing business and their lives from completely from the space of choice. I would like you to invite
Yes.
more
Yes.
people and let them know, like, are you really binded, or you're like bounded or owned by the business when you choose to have a business, or how differently it functions when you choose business done different, or choose business differently from what works for you.
Yes. Yes. And it's so true. And, like what one question I love to ask people is, what brings you joy? And in that, it's like, oh, and so even the whole name of Simone's specialty, the joy of business, for a lot of people, they're like, those two things don't go together. You have to be serious when you're in business.
Yeah, and nobody asked you this question, like, business and joy. Like, business is business, and joy.
Right.
Like, are you kidding?
Must be serious. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah. So what is different about business done different in your way, in your world? And what is so different, and what is it that people looking for it? What advice or what invitation would you like to give it to people who are looking for functioning from the joy of business?
What a great question. Yeah, there's a couple of questions that when you start looking at and asking, is one of them is, what are you so good at that you think nobody would want to give you money for?
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
Right? Yeah. And it's just like, well, why would anybody pay me when it's so easy for me? But that doesn't mean that it's easy for other people. And so what if that's actually one of your talents and strengths that you've never acknowledged? So I wonder, for people listening, how many different things are so easy for you that you just would like kind of go like, seriously, somebody would give me money for that? And start looking at that. Like I have a friend who's an amazing organizer. She loves going into people's closets and homes and organizing it. And she can't believe that people are paying her money for this. She loves it. You know how many people cannot, get me away from that. The organization is the last thing they want to do. So, things like that. And I wonder, like, how many different things you actually already know that you could maybe make into a business.
Yes. And one of the areas that I find people coming and asking questions is, how much of that are we stuck in the how to do business rather than just choosing to play with business? And most of the people, because I have somebody which I can relate to and ask me questions more about, is how do I choose it?
Yes.
It's like, because there's no reference point. If you do not have a reference point, then what's next? Would you like to talk more about that?
That's a great, and I've certainly myself tied myself up in knots about how to the point where I don't do anything, and what if you don't know how to, you just start. And in asking those questions, who is required or what is required for, this to actualize? And you can even ask, for it to actualize with total ease.
Yes. Right? Just a choice.
Right. Exactly. And, so with that, when you start asking those questions, you're going to start getting awarenesses, or people will start showing up, or you'll see, something on Facebook or a commercial or something that'll trigger these ideas. And then if you're willing to follow all of those breadcrumbs that you get, and see where it is, and be willing to explore. And the other thing is be willing to fail, and is it really a failure, or is it just another step along the journey?
Yes, so beautifully mentioned. I love that. So I love the breadcrumbs example. Like, each question brings up so many breadcrumbs in your world of awarenesses. Are you willing to follow that trail?
Totally.
Yeah. So tell me, so what is it that you would like to create with business for the future? What I would like to know more about, what's possible with business when you choose it from the joy of it, and what is it that you would like to create with your business for the future or for you?
What a fun question. Oh gosh, I get that I really am just started. And
Yeah.
I would love to create so much more and just empower people to know that really truly they can create and be anything that they desire. And anywhere that I can contribute to that lights me up like nothing else. And so however that shows up in whatever way, shape, form, I'm there. Sign me up.
Awesome. That sounds great. So, yes, so this is the website that where people can find Betsy. And Betsy, what are your favorite classes to facilitate right in this moment for now? Which is like, what are your upcoming classes and what's fun for you to facilitate in the coming month?
Oh, fun. Well, I love facilitating the Access Foundation class. I mean, there's not one I don't love. So that's kind of a hard question, right?
Yeah, that's why I mentioned right for the favorite tool for the moment.
For right now. And then I actually do have a couple of Access Business and Money classes coming up, and the Business Done Different. And I'm co-facilitating a couple classes with Venus Kasselberg and Mary Case. We're doing some different Business Done Different classes. And yeah, so that's just a sampling, and I've got a lot on the schedule and so excited for all of it. And
Yeah.
I also have a radio show that I would love to invite people to, which is on Om Times Radio, and that's a weekly show on Tuesdays, and there's an archives of it as well. So if you can always go and listen. It's on iTunes as well, and it's called Imperfect Brilliance. And I would love to have you come on the show as my guest as well. Yes, thank you. And it's a great, we talk about everything on that show. So there's all kinds of talk that gets like at least 5 years of archives. So lots and lots of, free stuff there for people to go listen to. So,
Wonderful. What a gift.
Thank you. And what about you? What classes do you have coming up?
So I have Business Done Different and foundation classes.
Yes.
And I call these mini shots of Joy of Business, the 2-hour classes that we take. And it's fun. It's every week.
Fun.
And, yes. So so I would like people to know that everybody who's looking for you there is a website scrolling down, which is Creating Yumminess. I love the name.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if anyone is looking for having more fun, if that's a choice and ask in your world, can really go to the website and check more. Okay, we also have Access Joy of Business. You can also go to the website at www.accessjoyofbusiness and find phenomenal facilitators all around the world creating phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's fun. So Betsy, I love the energy that you be and the story of change that you've really totally invited people of what's possible in the world.
Yes.
As you leave.
Yes. I would just say.
As you leave.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. That's called Business Done Different.
I would just invite people, right? What you were just saying, like the story of change, that nothing is impossible. You can change anything. So anywhere that you might be thinking it's impossible, I'm living proof that you can change it. So what if you actually just start asking that question, what else is possible?
Be aware, your life might just change.
Yay! Thank you everybody so much for having me come play with you today. What a pleasure.
Thanks.